going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz, Phoenix, the YWC reality check. This is the state of wrestling, and go subscribe to him on Rumble. That is Jake fucking DeMarco. What's going on, buddy?
What is going on, my friend? That's right, Mr. Countdown ended, but you know what countdown isn't ending? Stand and Deliver. It's still too far away. Oi, oi, oi. Oi. I am super excited, but getting impatient because the build on NXT was everything. And you know what? This week, I've come over to Kidnap the State of Wrestling with my topic first. I'm frustrated. You know, I know I'm a little late to the party, and the Observer Awards happened, you know, about a month back with, you know, all the results. But we never really got to bring up the fact that the Young Bucks won the Tag Team of the Year last year, and they really only held the title for a mere few seconds. It was just for a cup of coffee and a hiccup, so that they could go ahead and, you know, lose them to Private Party and then take off, shred documents, and never be seen again. And I get what they're trying to go for in storyline, but that's not my point here. AEW's idea of tag team wrestling is sending people out there to brawl all over the place. You don't get
and
the
fall
real...
on nails.
Yeah, it turns into a hardcore, you know, death sentence, and that is the truth. That's not what I enjoy, what I'm looking for. Last night, I even said a bit on the review that I had. We went ahead and mentioned, hey, tag team wrestling, NXT, that's where it's at its finest, because WWE, especially main roster, typically gave us a lot of solo guys that would be paired up. You know, and my example was Roman Reigns when The Undertaker and him teamed up. You know, and it was like, oh, whoever was on the apron is sleeping because they're just waiting to get to the ending to do the choke slam and the spear and the pinfall. That's it. You get nothing except that big
we'll always have that one really cool moment where Bray Wyatt hit the Sister Abigail and then pointed to Roman for the spear.
Yes.
That was cool.
That was cool. I give that, absolutely.
Do you know why?
Well, really quick, my whole
Sure.
point there in saying was this. I fail to see why people just can't understand the nuance and specialty that goes into and is required of tag team wrestling. Mm-hmm. Hank and Tank, they never stop moving. They are forever in motion. If they're not clapping and hyping up the audience, they're running back and forth. If they're inside to break up a pinfall, or they're you know, helping and reaching as far as they can to get that next hot tag, or they're on the outside stopping, you know, the other teammate. They are constantly in motion. They are not just standing on that apron, you know. And people were kind of poo-pooing on it, saying, well, that was a real developmental match. And I'm like, well, first off, NXT is developmental, so shut up. But still, that's not a real valid saying here, because it was an excellent match. It wasn't poorly, you know, laid out or anything. I thought they had a really good back and forth. Tyreek especially looked good, and Tyson. You know, the two of them, damn, they look like effective beasts.
I hate to say it because, like, I don't want to sound like I'm downing on NXT, because I couldn't be further from the truth. Wes Lee's little group there, I don't know if they have a group name yet.
I don't think they have a name yet, but
they are another one. They are falling into the category of Cora Jade, where I feel like them going and spending some time in TNA has been like letting them off the leash. I feel like I'm seeing them in NXT, and NXT is a weird space because there's a lot of comedy and a lot of gimmicks and a lot of character work, and I always go back to like The Family and Chase U and stuff like that can only really exist in NXT. I think Tyson and Tyreek, like, this is the closest that NXT is going to give them to, like, you know, quote unquote going on excursion.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going over to New Japan for a year or anything like that. But TNA is a pretty cool excursion. It's a different group of people. It's a more experienced group of people. It's a completely different fan base. I think they are night and day from how they were before they went over and mixed it up. Because, as we said before, two really big guys, and look who they're mixing it up with: Wesley, Ace Austin, Trey Miguel, Zachary Wentz. It's going to make
couldn't be in better company, right?
Like, fit in or fall behind type thing, and I think they're doing it. They're doing this a little bit on the main roster as well, but not as much. They do a really good job with the tag team division of focusing on the guys that you know aren't going to be in the tag title picture right away. Like, Hank and Tank are a really fun team. I don't think they're going to be in the tag picture right away.
No.
Crucifino and Stax, because they're involved in the whole Tony D story, they have a thing of their own. You don't really need to concern yourself with them going for the tag titles. You know what they're doing, and what they're doing is enough.
Yeah, but they're not forgotten either.
No, they're not. Wes Lee's group are doing their own thing. Briggs and Nico with Sean Spears, and I know you like the Sean Spears and Ricky Saints stuff that was brilliant. That I have to, because my attention was diverted during that segment, I do have to watch that segment again in full. But like they've got a lot of teams. They're building up a mid card in the tag division. They're building up a lower card in the thing. I always used to say, and I used to say it with wrestlers like Heath Slater and Santino Marella and, you know, the Fashion Police and guys like that, right? You have to have a low card, because if you want to say that, like, the Intercontinental title, the U.S. title, the tag titles are mid-card titles,
Yeah.
you have to have a low card to make the middle. And Hank and Tank, I mean, I would love them to be in the tag title picture, don't get me wrong, but the fact that they're not doesn't hurt them for where they are right now. And I think they've done better. Honestly, if I can give sort of a backwards compliment to WWE, I think they've done better with their tag teams than they have with any individual wrestler on the bottom of the card.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, the tag team thing's ridiculous. The Young Bucks, they're going to get picked. All they have to do is breathe, and somebody will give them 10 stars. But I mean, we're in agreement, right? It's Fraxium.
Oh, absolutely.
It's Fraxium.
Just the way you laid it out, it's so true, and it breaks my heart, because so long did the tag team division suffer, just like the trios division suffers, because the Death Riders hold on to those belts. The same thing happened with the tag titles, you know. So for a long time we saw neither, and it feels like the same happens again. I'm a bit kind of the same feeling on Raw as well. You know, the War Viking Raider Machine guys have not had their titles defended in a few weeks now, and they haven't even been on the show. It felt like, and even longer.
I think, and I don't know who I was saying this to. I think I was actually saying this to somebody at work today. There's one or two people in our office that
You're talking to me? Are you going crazy? Come on here.
Yeah. A couple of people in my office at work that actually watch wrestling. Oh, you catch this, you catch that. And, oh, you were at Skydome the other week. I'm like, yeah, it's still the Skydome. It's not the Rogers Center.
It's hard. Old habits die hard.
But
huh?
I had a passing thought. Like, you talk about, like, character and a lot of the character swerves that have happened this year. If Jey Uso was not in the world title picture against Gunther, which is another conversation for another day.
Yeah.
If that wasn't the case, with how individually over the Usos are now, would the Usos versus the current version of the New Day be the biggest tag team match they could give us?
You know, I don't know about the biggest, but it's certainly up there. I mean, it'd be one of, no doubt. Actually, you know what? Because who else has got the bigger longevity than those teams in WWE right now?
I'm not even necessarily talking about longevity. Like
no, but I'm saying that certainly qualifies them to being like the best of, that would be the best, because they literally are. That, like, both teams are longest reigning.
But the New Day currently get a better boo reaction than Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah,
and
no doubt. Go figure.
Usos. The only other team I have to compare this to is the Hardys, and we all know I'm pretty biased towards the Hardys. Yes, that's still allowed in 2025. Like, the Hardys when they split off and they tried to do their own thing, and Jeff got the WWE title, and even Matt got the WWE CW title, and they were on different shows and blah 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 blah. People tuned in to WWE ECW December to Dismember.
Yes.
Not for anything else that was happening on that card, but hey guys, did you hear? We're finally getting the Hardys back together to face Eminem, even though none of them are on the ECW brand, right? I think the only thing close to we love this guy individually now, now put them back together. The only current day iteration of that is either the Usos, or we find out that Big E's been medically cleared and the New Day get back together.
And it's not a far cry. I mean, I don't know necessarily that he will be back, but I would certainly love to see it,
Yeah. Because right now, like, as much as we know wrestling's a work, what they did with Big E was part of a storyline, blah, 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 blah. There's no such thing as kayfabe anymore. It was done so well that the fans are willing to hate them. and hate them properly, if that makes sense.
And effectively, yes.
And now take that, and on the other side of the ring, put Jey Uso and all the acclaim that not acclaim, that's the wrong word, because people are shitting on the guy, but like the following that he has now, and the infectious nature of him as a singles star. And sort of converse to that is Roman Reigns is a big guy, Jey Uso's the next big guy. The guy that gets forgotten is Jimmy, and because he's been forgotten, he's been doing some really fun stuff on SmackDown.
Yeah, but he's been like forgotten for a while. It felt like.
I think
so.
He's
thankfully,
using it, though.
we finally got something. Yeah,
he's using the fact that he's been forgotten, because every time he shows up on SmackDown, it's like, oh yeah, Jimmy, and then he has a really cool, fun match.
Yeah,
and him showing up on Raw and everybody being upset that it wasn't Joe Hendry, which they never really announced.
I know they didn't announce, but they even they retweeted Joe Hendry saying say his name and he appears. Like they were teasing it heavily. He was there in Scotland, so was Drew. I feel like that's a Vince-ism. That's a huge fuck up in my book. Like how? Yeah. You know, like that's a home run moment.
But see, that's the thing with Triple H's WWE. Like Vince would say, "Don't say it unless we're going to give it to them."
Yeah, Triple H implies a lot.
I think
often.
Triple H is a lot more willing to let the fans know, like, hey, you know what? Maybe we're not doing that right now, but we could. Could. And we could do it in the future, and keep letting your mind wander. Vince was this is what you're getting. No surprises. This is what you're getting. You're getting A, B, and C. You sit down, you see A, you see B, you see C, you go home. It's probably a fun show.
And then you see E, D, F, and then you.
Yeah. But then Triple H's thing is like, we're going to tell you a long-ass story, and we're going to let you speculate the 5 or 6 different ways that it could go. We have 2 separate matches on WrestleMania containing 5 wrestlers that are all based on the fact that they fucked each other out of world title matches before we figured out that the contenders were going to be John Cena and Jey Uso.
I mean, yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, no, the tag team thing is an ongoing thing, and I don't think anybody's, like, I hate to say it, TNA is going to get a shot in the arm if and when Chris Bay is able to get back and wrestle, because once the first ABC match that we get on TNA is going to be a huge deal.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, let me say this. I'll get on my soapbox and I'll say that this is not Jake. This is just me, because I don't want to drag Jake into this.
Oh, drag me down, sire.
Not Swerve Strickland going out there on the Chris Bay tribute show and saying, hey, this guy that we're all here to see, I want his first match. I want to be on that marquee.
Mm-hmm.
Swerve Strickland can fuck all the way off.
Talk about making it about yourself, huh?
Even if he came out and
the guy almost ended up paralyzed, and you're like, "Oh, I want to wrestle you.
I want to be the first. I
want to break your knee." it feels tone deaf, right?
It feels so tone deaf. Like even coming out and saying like,
it is tone deaf. It
is tone deaf. But like I'm even when I'm criticizing, I'm trying to give benefit of the doubt where I can, right?
I know, but how?
But here's what I'm gonna say.
All
if you're all out for the show and Swerve Strickland, maybe I didn't see the show. Maybe he's one of the biggest names on the show. I don't know who else was on the show. But if he came out and like raised Chris Bay's hand, because I know Chris Bay walked out to say hi to everybody and whatever. If he raised Chris Bay's hand and he said something along the lines of, you know what, man? We know you're going to kick ass. We know you're going to get out of this. We know you're going to come back 10 times better. And when you do, I hope I see you across the ring someday. Someday, different than, hey, when you come back, I want to be on the marquee. I want to be your first.
You're going to face me first. That's it. Like I said, not just tone deaf, but disrespectful too of the entire situation.
When it's so like change 1 or 2 words, it could be a really nice sentiment, but you have to pull it to your own chest.
Oh no, I get your point. Yeah, absolutely. Like it's just like, again, if you weren't a selfish prick, then real intentions would be enough. But
if
no,
you weren't a selfish prick, you wouldn't be soul bonded with Tony Khan.
Yeah.
Anyways,
there is that issue, and we're seeing a lot of people now trying to escape. You know, Saraya, obviously. Yes, another one released, and
let's put a positive spin on this. Let's put a very, very positive spin. We love talking about the ladies divisions.
You always find a way to make it positive, sir. That's one of my favorite features.
No matter where we are, we always want to bring it back to the ladies division because we love the ladies, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm going to give you 3 names, right? and I want you to tell me yes, yes, and yes that you would love to see them all in WWE, if that's how you feel, because I'm pretty sure you do. Paige?
Oh, absolutely.
Gail Kim?
Without question.
Mina Shirakawa?
I don't know. I think she could be fun, but she would have to go into NXT.
Oh, for sure.
She would have to, because she's good in the ring. She's not great. She's good. She has really good fundamentals. Her character work is funny, but it needs a bit more like honing in for the American audience. She can't just be all boobs.
But she's got
not complaining.
She's got the kind of and I'm aside from the boobs, because the boobs are fun.
Yes.
We like boobs here. I've got 2 of my own.
That's right. You and me both.
I'm not melting away like you. But wow. No, like to give genuine credit though, right? Like she does have a charisma and an energy and a connection, whatever you want to say that connection is, that's hard to teach.
Absolutely.
So if you've got that energy, you've got that enthusiasm, you got that connection, you got that charisma, the other stuff can come.
Yes.
Pause.
And come indeed, it shall.
But like throw her into NXT. The reason I bring these 3 names up, because I wanted to sort of
Paige
merge.
Especially when I was there at Grand Slam when Saraya debuted for AEW, and you hear me on the Grand Slam tape. You hear me scream. Like, you can hear it because I went nuts, and I didn't even have it recorded because I didn't expect it to happen. They played the her entrance theme there by her. I don't think they're still together. Her and Ronnie Radke, Falling in Reverse.
I don't think so. I'm not familiar with him. I know they were seen as like a celebrity couple, but I'm not familiar with him.
He's had a tumultuous history.
I was going to say, apparently he's a dick, but I've only heard that in really generic terms.
He's somewhat recovered his image, but he's still not great. He went ahead and he served a decently long jail sentence, and
oh dear.
Something like assault, and then something with his girlfriend. There was I don't know all of it.
I was going to say I don't want to cast aspersions because I'm a huge Paige fan, but she's had a lot of bad luck in those regards. And you want just the super generic I hope everybody's okay type of thing, right?
You realize it too. Sadly, there's a circle and a cycle. It's repeating, and that's what continually happens here, unfortunately.
Anyways,
it's heartbreaking, but
we will bring it back to positive.
Yes, as you do.
People listening that aren't like linked up to the dirt sheets necessarily as much as you and I are might think Paige, Gail Kim, Mina Shirakawa. What the fuck do they have in common? Well, they're all in the rumor mill this week. Paige has been talking all kinds of real good positivity about WWE.
Which is funny because she has her book coming out as well right now. So she's on the book tour, and what better way to get press than to suck up to your former, boss, essentially. Not the boss, but the former company. You get my point.
The statements that I've seen from her...
She's not sucking up. She's just saying they treated her well. Yeah.
They treated her well. The term she keeps using is WWE raised me.
Yes, and I say that very, very, very loosely in the term of suck up. But she was glazing them in the sense of like they were great. As where before
and they
she
helped
was a
her in a bunch
more,
of like personal situations or whatever, which I believe.
But she was very honest too, because she said it before. The only reason she signed with AEW because she was promised by Tony that her brother would have a career. So she went there. Her brother got to walk her to ringside and hold the title near her when she won at the first All In. Remember, she just like took the title in like the shortest match, and everyone kind of just looked around and was like, "That was it." Her mom was out there, her whole family. Like it was like this cool moment, but it was like not earned at all. It was very bizarre. Well, that was one appearance, and then he wrestled twice.
I will say that was cool for her to be able to have her whole family in the ring with her. Like that's one of those like I don't.
That's what I'm saying. Like the moment was very cool. The match was underwhelming, and she knew it, and unfortunately that's what it was. But
I don't even remember who she faced, to be honest with you.
Jamie Hayter, maybe, I don't remember.
Okay.
But
where's Jamie Hayter? Oh yeah, visas maybe.
Yeah.
I don't want to cast any dispersions. I don't know anything about that kind of shit. But, like, for her to say, yeah, of course I'd go back there if there was something we could both do and whatever and all that kind of thing. And I'm sorry, unless your name is Mercedes and you're kicking people off commentary tables, there's not much to do in AEW. Like, you're going to get your one night on TV and your 6 months at home or whatever. So, Paige might be looking on the other side of the line. Gail Kim, on the other side of the coin, was very much working behind the scenes, sort of like took the whole Knockouts division under her wing in that regard. I think she was working on their creative as well, and they just let her go. I haven't read the full, like, what came of all that, because I know she was released with a bunch of other, like, behind the scenes names. I don't think she'd come back for a run necessarily, but she'd be a great surprise at a Royal Rumble, something like that. I know it seems kind of token at this point, but, like, it'd be a nice thing to see, or, like, she could be there, I don't know, just receiving some adulation going into the Hall of Fame. Any of those types of things. Maybe get a Legends deal, throw her in a couple of games, and let her get some residuals off that.
Yeah, anything at this point.
But I'd like to see her. It is kind of weird. Of like, she just got let go from TNA. TNA works with WWE.
But they are different entities, so it's not the same. You do have to, like, because I said that before too, and on Twitter I was talking to somebody and they're like, well, no, they are different. I'm like, yeah. Because people have been let go from TNA to get hired by WWE even during, so it's like, all right, maybe they do have something in mind and planned out, whatever, sure, but...
TNA has become, over years, has become, like, the landing place for people that didn't really have a place to go.
And then they get to go in and, again, hone their craft, make a name for themselves, and be excellent. And that's really what's happened over and over and over again. It's been just this constant place of just good-natured learning, and
I think the best example recently, I mean, Dolph Ziggler's the obvious example, right? But Mustafa Ali came in for like a 6-month run, and he picked up He picked up the X Division title. I only remember that because
him and Mike Santana had a great match this week at Impact, so that was, of course,
and they've got a good story going as well. But like, well, he's actually signed with them now. Before he came in for like a 6-month stint. The only reason I remember it
there
is because when he came to Destiny up here in Mississauga to face Gabriel Fuerza, he was still the X Division champion at the time. And after he won the match, obviously, but he put over Fuerza, and he said, next time we fight, it might be for this, and he doesn't have that title anymore. But like, he made such a good impression in his first 6-month run that they've signed him now. I think it's kind of cool. TNA.
Yeah, how could they not sign him? I mean,
but TNA's pretty fluid. Like, TNA's pretty fluid in the sense that like they'll let somebody come in and have a quick run and then like fuck off somewhere else, or maybe they have a quick run, they get their face back on TV, they get signed back by WWE, like what happened with Bronson Reed.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Because he was Jonah in Bronson Reed / Jonah had some awesome matches with Josh Alexander. But
yes, he did actually. What was the PLE? I say PLE pay-per-view, whatever the one that they had. Shit.
I'm shit with their pay-per-view names.
Yeah, so. I can't think either. I'll have to look it up. But that was really good. That was a standout. Yeah, and it was so damn good. It wasn't Rebellion. I can't think.
Yeah, probably not.
I'm so bad at those. I'm bad with WWE still. Never mind TNA.
Yeah, and WWE's been relatively consistent, so like we can't...
Well, I'm saying my internal joke is because now WWE is NXT as well, so it's WWE stand deliver, WWE, so they're really they're hammering us home indeed.
But
Gail Kim's one that I really would like to see in WWE, obviously, but AEW would be fooled not to hire her if she's looking to go somewhere, because she revolutionized the women's division in the knockouts, and because of her doing
I bet if they would have to choose the right person. I bet she'd work as a manager.
Oh, she would. She was speaker at one point, wasn't she? Early on, and then again. I thought she did something briefly in TNA too.
I think she managed Awesome Kong at some point. I could be very wrong with that. But no, Gail Kim's one, and the only reason I bring up Mina Shirakawa is 90% sure she's going to AEW.
Yeah.
The news came out recently that she's tying up her last dates with Stardom, and that she can't take any bookings from anybody other than Stardom.
Yes.
So there's two things to that. If you're saying you can't pick up a booking anywhere else, typically that would lean you in a more WWE direction, because Tony Khan and AEW sold themselves on, oh, look at us, we're so nice.
Yeah,
our people still work everywhere else.
We don't fire anybody.
We
never fire anybody.
We don't fire anybody to the point where we don't let anybody leave when they want to. But my point being is, like,
as they fire people.
Like, thinking like Ghost of Vince mentality, right? Like, if somebody was all of a sudden saying they couldn't take
there it is again. Vince derangement.
Yep. But, like, if you heard somebody couldn't take any dates anywhere else, like when Josh Alexander
what would
said
you think? Exactly.
Josh Alexander said he wasn't taking any more indie dates anywhere. And I'm like, okay, so maybe he's coming to WWE, because I had that old mentality.
Yeah.
Mina Shirakawa saying she's finishing up with Stardom and she can't take bookings anywhere else.
There's not a lot of places left for her to, yeah.
But here's the thing, though. Like, she's been on AEW now. There's a bunch of places that would have her on for a show, even to say, oh, as seen on AEW.
Yeah,
or whatever.
And she's established in AEW, with the fans to a certain extent. Yep. So it's not like she's totally, out of left field with them. So they wouldn't have to do a lot to get her over.
My question becomes, and this is why I sort of led with, like, would you want to see her in WWE? Because I wouldn't mind. I think she'd be a lot of fun. But, like, is it the old mentality? Is she by chance coming to WWE and that a little bit of that old mentality is still lingering around? Or is she going to AEW and that being the number one selling point of going to AEW is kind of going by the wayside?
That's what's
because if she was going to AEW and they're the ones that let you do whatever the fuck you want, why would she need to cut off all other bookings?
Exactly.
I'm cool either way. Like it's like the Deonna Purrazzo.
So long as she's hired, It's
like the Deonna Purrazzo thing. Like Deonna Purrazzo, like she's not being used very often, but she is in a bigger company now than she was when she was in TNA. With all due respect to TNA, my feelings on AEW aside, happy for her. She's on a bigger stage when she gets to be on it.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely.
Mina Shirakawa gets picked up. She goes to AEW. Cool, that's her choice. Nobody's gonna sit here and slag her off for choosing AEW. You're probably wrong, but it is what it is. But
my tribalism comes out specifically when it's it's only to certain people. Like with Mina, I'm like, hell yeah, girl, get your money, get your bag, get hired somewhere and enjoy it. Because getting hired for AEW is not a death sentence at this point. They may not be what they were, but they're still have some fans. They have an established.
They're still the number two. Like they're the.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and say this in a nice way. They're the distant number two.
But they're still
number two. Like
they're on cable. They're doing better than TNA in that regard. They're seen weekly. So.
TNA's on cable up here. You got to come to Canada.
Well, in your loopy land with bag milk, I'm telling you, but
you got to come to Canada. I'm just
baby
saying.
Baby, so cold to come from the Canada.
Can I interest you in some tariffs and healthcare? We have the best healthcare.
The best healthcare.
It's fantastic.
It's huge.
We're gonna rename it the Orange Cross. Anyways, but it's one of those things where like. And this is going to breed more tribalistic conversation, I know. But it'll be very interesting because you've got somebody right now that's saying, I can't take bookings anywhere else. It'll be very interesting to hear the difference in reaction if it turns out to be, I couldn't take any more bookings because I signed with WWE, or I couldn't take any bookings because I signed with AEW.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to be
it's got to be one of the two.
But it's going to be two drastically different sets of reactions.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, of course Tony Khan would do that. He values her. He wants her on the show versus, that's why WWE, blah, 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 goes to Vince.
Yeah, they censor them. They won't let them, that kind of stuff. You're not wrong, sadly.
Here we go. Here's what we do. We have Mina Shirakawa and Paige as a tag team managed by Gail Kim.
Oh, wow.
For reasons.
Yeah, just because. Sign me up.
We got a mentor, a student, and a manager. It's evolution. It's a mystery.
Evolution, baby.
But yeah, so let's, while we're talking about women that we like, let's talk about a woman in the crowd that...
Actually, one last comment before we take it. Tribalism, too, it always makes me laugh because people were saying how wrestling's toxic and the fans are toxic, but tribalism here is under the bias of fans knowing, like, hey, this is fake, but we're cheering along like it's real because we're all in on it. Versus having, sports teams that are just from an area and people, burn down the city when they win. It's like the tribalism in other sports is nothing but tribalism. Like that's
let's be real,
most
man.
of the sports and competition is based on.
It's 2025. Assholes don't really need a reason anymore to burn down the city.
No, but they certainly find a way to be offended by everything, right?
Oh, fuck's sake. I'm not having that conversation tonight. Do you want to get into the El Grande Americano conversation?
Oh, I know. I started to crack that whip the other day, my friend.
I'm not.
I went down that path, and it was not pretty. But they were trying to go after my Twitter on that one. But honestly,
I don't have the energy for that conversation. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
No, I said it outright the best way. It was parody. If you're not getting the joke, then you're clearly shouldn't be watching at this point because it's humorous. It's parody. It's meant for fun.
Yep.
It's a fake character with a fake background.
Here's the thing, right? And this isn't even a tribal thing.
I got you into it.
This isn't even an AEW WWE thing. The people watching that are either not understanding that it's a gimmick or like pretending that they don't get that it's a gimmick are people that are just trying to speak against wrestling. Period. Yeah. And that's a different conversation than WWE did a thing.
Exactly, because there's a lot of detractors just using what they can, and it's like. I get it, but why? It's like of all things.
Why? Because being outraged about something gets you something in 2025.
Oh, certainly.
Anyways, switching gears now.
Clock, tick tock, move that watch.
Okay, so there's a lot of conversation about really, really creepy fans and how they treat the wrestlers. We know what happened with Sonya Deville and her unfortunate stalker situation. We know Asuka has been very open on social media about people harassing her and telling her that they love her and all this kind of thing. And the reaction that happens a lot of the time is, oh, well, that's just guys being dicks. You know how guys are. None of them really care about women's wrestling. They just care about the titties and all that sort of thing, all joking aside. So how about this chick who's an OnlyFans person? Not that there's anything wrong with being an OnlyFans person. Trying to grope up on CM Punk and Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, she did it twice, and she was all about trying to get herself seen and known for attention. She is a big wrestling fan, so she's often wearing these, inappropriate styled outfits with wrestling garb, and she tries to, get everybody's attention. But like we said before, it's an OnlyFans thing. That's all it's for.
Yeah.
We knew about it.
Like, let's be clear. Like, I don't know where you fall on it. I'm not going to speak for you. Like,
OnlyFans, I support. Hey, you want to sell your body and do what you want.
The whole OnlyFans thing,
don't
sex
force
work
someone
stuff.
else into it. Yeah.
Like, seriously, go, ladies and guys, if you're doing it out there too. Like, go grab your bag.
There's some weird stuff to it, certainly, but. As with everything.
Know your own risks, make your own choices, and all that kind of thing. I'm not here to shit on anybody that does
be your own boss.
Any kind of sex work. You want to go work at a strip club, you want to do the OnlyFans thing, you want to sell pictures of your fucking feet, whatever you're doing, safe. Right? This is not about that.
Make those toe dads happy.
Yeah, this isn't about that. This is about putting people in uncomfortable situations. And I'm sorry.
Exactly. You're forcing it upon him.
My whole grounding point of all of this is it's just as bad doing it to Cody and CM Punk as it is doing it to Sonya Deville and Asuka.
Yeah, there's no difference.
And I'm really not.
Men can be objectified just as much as women.
Of course they can. And this is
my point. People treat it like they can't be, but
this is the point of it. And I'm really not. I'm hoping everybody that's listening to me is on the same page here, because I'm trying to put my typical dickhead hat on the shelf for a second, because we're actually talking about something kind of serious.
Yeah.
But like. I'm not trying to make this a guy-girl thing. I'm not trying to say women are evil. I'm not trying to say guys are great, because a lot of guys out there are dicks. Let's be real for a second, right?
We were talking about Harry Sisson, and people were canceling him because he was just racking up girls, but he didn't force anybody into anything. It was like, hey, he just had some riz, and they agreed to send pictures.
I'm pretty sure that dude has bodies in his basement, but I'm not touching that.
You might be on to something with that. But
my point being is, Anybody can be a harasser. Anybody can be harassed. Yes. Anybody that has been harassed deserves to speak up about it. CM Punk deserves to speak up about it just as much as Asuka does. If there had been warning signs ahead of time, we might have not had the Sonya Deville situation, which was probably fucking terrifying, right?
Yeah, and I'm tired
I'm tired of the people that want to make it a gender war. And want to make it, boys versus the girls, and what happens to girls versus what happens to boys. Because what I heard for the longest time was, oh, well, what do the guys have to worry about? The worst thing they ever have to worry about is that one chick with the world famous, like, face fuck me Finn sign.
Yeah.
Right? But here's the thing. What they're doing with that little, like, jab there is kind of proving my point. If anything like that had been put up about one of the ladies in the division, rightfully so, it would never become the butt of a joke.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly. And
Finn Balor himself might have looked up at that and smirked and shrugged it off and gone on with the rest of his day. And
but
more power to him for that.
Yeah,
but
other people don't, though. Some people can't handle it, and
I don't know. It is one of those things where even if the person decided not to be offended, maybe don't do that in a building full of kids. Just putting that one out there as well. But
yeah,
I just thought, like, it's oh God, I wish I had a better comparison. But it's like, why people asked me, because I latched onto it. Like,
yeah.
Why did we latch on so hard to the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing, right?
Yeah, because people want to know the truth. They want to. They're interested by the drama, you know, and they're curious.
Nobody, if you call them to task on it, nobody will ever say, "Oh, nothing ever happens to men," but they'll just lean back on the, "Oh, well, yeah, but it happens more to women, and it's worse when it. Why is it worse when it happens to women?"
Yeah.
And when people got on my case about following the Johnny Depp Amber, and I'm not here to say that Johnny Depp's an angel either.
No, of course not. He's done his share of crazy shit.
Problem is, he's admitted everything he's done. He's like, I've done a bunch of fucked up shit.
He's tried to vindicate himself from it too. He tried to,
but my point
make
is,
up for his previous.
My point is, if you hear names like Brock Turner that got all over the news and blah, 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 because he did something to a chick, which was absolutely horrible, by the way.
No doubt about it.
Until you had somebody with the name value, the legal team, and the money of a Johnny Depp, when was the last time you heard a male victim of assault, abuse, etc., like that, by name, whose name stayed in the news?
Yeah. It's been, how long, if ever?
Yeah. So now, translate that into the wrestling context, right? In all reality, if I'm using Asuka because Asuka's been a really upfront, outspoken person for the, like, guys, don't do this, this is wrong, if this is happening to you, say something, da-da-da-da. So I'm putting her up on a pedestal by using her as the example, right?
Yeah.
If Asuka somehow was going through a crowd, like a wrestling crowd, or there was a brawl in the stands, or she makes her comeback and she's going to take on Dakota Kai and they're brawling in the audience, right? And one of those guys that was being really fucked up to her online tries to, grab her or whatever in the crowd. She's totally within her rights. I think you and I can both agree. Turn around, backhand that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, let me ask you something.
And we've seen it and people deserve it.
Same exact situation, though. This OnlyFans chick, same thing to CM Punk. CM Punk turns around and decks her. He's the one in the headline tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely, sadly. And, I mean, the punishment doesn't fit the crime, I guess, when these guys assaulting a girl, but...
Oh, but guys like it. Do they,
no.
though? Do they, though?
He didn't have a choice there. And, yeah, people might, like, grab your shoulders, but he said it the first time, and then... Because
he did. If you watch the video, he does turn around and say, like,
"Fucking stop."
Because I think there was a moment where he didn't know who it was, and it's like, the next time somebody does that, I'm going to deck them. And then I think he realized it was a chick, and he's like, that's only going to end badly for me.
Mm-hmm. He knew at that moment. He's like, ah, shit, I can't hit her.
Like, how?
I sent you the other angle, the up close angle, in the Skype chat now, and that was the one I originally saw. So,
like I say. I'm doing my best here, and like I say, we don't always tackle the serious stuff on here. I'm doing my best to sort of treat it with the level that it deserves, right? But how
not entire kid gloves, but yes,
how
close.
How 100% assured and entitled and comfortable are you being a shithead that you have to be told more? Like, never mind the fact that you did it, that you have to be told more than once.
Yeah, a lot of these OnlyFans girls honestly feel totally invincible, so that's the problem too. And we've seen what and why and what's come of it. So,
yeah, I kind of wish that it didn't come out that she was an OF girl though, because now the conversation will be, oh, you're just targeting these types of people. I'm like, no, nobody should do it. Nobody should be stalking Sonya Deville. Nobody should be out there doing weird proposals to Asuka. Nobody should be trying to fucking grope CM Punk and Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
It's all fucked up. We can all be better. And as I've said a million times in the past, if I'm the adult in the conversation, there's a problem.
There's an issue.
There is an absolute problem. Anyways, now we got something a little bit more fun, a little lighter. We get to put the kid hats back on now.
Woohoo!
WrestleMania weekend.
Yes. They just keep adding to it.
We've got, as it stands right now, and I'm sure I'm going to forget something, and I'm leading to something, so guys, bear with me for a second. There is the Unbreakable pay-per-view on Thursday, the WrestleMania SmackDown, the Stand and Deliver, oi oi oi, WrestleMania Night 1, WrestleMania Night 2, the Raw after WrestleMania. They're sticking around to do NXT in Vegas. There's the Roast of WrestleMania. There's the Hall of Fame. There's, if you're down in the area, I know What Culture is doing a lot of stuff live there as well.
There's the kickoff dinner. There's the after parties that go to 4:30 a.m. every night with WWE superstars there. The tickets are like $50 to $79 to go.
And if you've got $100,000, you can watch WrestleMania with Hulk Hogan. Hey.
Yeah.
But it's
down to $6,900 now. Go figure.
But they've also got the Slammy Awards as part of WrestleMania weekend, which is what they always should have been. Let's be real for a second.
That's what made the most sense. Absolutely.
They just did them random points in the year just to make a random episode
whenever they
of Raw.
needed it. And then it started to go like, close towards the end of the year, kind of, but then it wasn't, so...
See, and here's the thing. If you want to do it as a year-end roundup, like pre-tape it, do whatever, and drop it as like your last episode of Raw at the end of December, that's cool, because that's a year-end wrap-up thing. But I mean, if you were wrapping up the year early, like last year, we wouldn't have included the New Day turn. So maybe do it in the first week of January. I would say, because WrestleMania weekend is crowded, make it for the last calendar year, like for this year, like make it specifically talking about 2024, and make it part of Royal Rumble weekend.
I like that.
Because
I like that a lot.
Royal Rumble kicks off the year, so why do we not include one thing there that wraps up everything from last year? Anyways, so we're gonna go through the categories. We're gonna give our thoughts. It's pretty WWE saying, here's the answer and here's 5 other options. But I'm just gonna go with it. We'll get whatever conversation we can out of it and call it a day. Yeah.
Yeah. Right, absolutely. Okay.
Slammy 4.
Sorry about him, but yes.
Breakout Star of the Year. According to WWE, these are the candidates: Stephanie Vacour, Chelsea Green, Jacob Fatu, Tiffany Stratton, Julia, Obafemi, Penta, Lyra Valkyria, Braun Breaker.
Yeah. It's a tough one because Penta's not been there that long. Like he's definitely a big breakout star, but not the breakout.
Yeah, Penta's not on my list. He's made a good start, but I think he's still in his start.
Yeah. Lyra's a good name, but I don't know.
I'll tell you where I'm going. I'm saying Braun Breaker over.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going.
Over Obafemi, but like just by a hair. Like I would almost say Braun Breaker, Obafemi as the co-winners. Braun Breaker just edging him because he's just.
If Obafemi captured the title a little bit sooner, he would have probably had more. But like that match of Moose, he needed like one more of those.
Yeah.
And I would have given it to him. But Braun has delivered so many OMG moments.
Oh yeah.
Just with him fucking running around the ring like a maniac.
It's funny because like there's guys that do big stunts like I've said Bronson Reed before already, right? Braun Breaker's big stunt is just watching him have a match.
Yeah. He's
like
just
we're not talking about
fast.
We're not talking about, like we've done it in previous pods. We're not talking about who the person to fight him at WrestleMania is. We're discussing who the pack of people to fight him at WrestleMania is.
Exactly.
Lyra's awesome, but I think she needs to do some more connecting because I don't think she's connecting on the main roster just yet. Penta just got there. Julia and Stephanie, I kind of disqualified because you could tell WWE brought them in and they already got a chance to hit the ground running, so they didn't have like a start at the bottom, go up thing. Like they started at the top pretty much.
Yeah, and just worked their way up.
And Tiffany Stratton is not quite on the main roster what she was in NXT, so I want to say she will be, but not yet. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm going Braun Breaker just edging out Obafemi.
Okay.
All right. So
I'm in agreement. I was going to say Braun is my pick, probably more than anybody else. I think he would be the best pick they have. So
okay, social star of the year. There's only two options: Chelsea Green and Drew McIntyre.
Yeah,
and it's a tie. Like, fuck off with those choices.
I hope it's not a tie, but I forget. I think Chelsea won last. No, Drew won last year, and Chelsea stole it from him. Like, that was the joke. So again, they're both nominated. I wish they threw a few more names in here to make it a bit more not realistic, but you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I think Chelsea wins this year. Drew won last year. I think Chelsea gets this one.
You think Chelsea wins and Drew McIntyre I think steals it to make up for last year? I think it's going to be a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking hate some of these categories. Vote now for your what the fuck moment of the year.
And some of these are like, come on.
Some of these are dumb. R-Truth mistaking Triple H for Tommaso Ciampa. Kevin Owens doing all of his car interviews, which is fair. Chelsea Green going into the dumpster. Dominic Mysterio in the shark cage. ISO Speed with Logan Paul at WrestleMania. LA Knight in Logan Paul's pool. I don't know. R-Truth wrestles with John Cena. I don't know when that was a thing.
That was, remember, The Miz and Truth had the Raw tag team titles. They won at Mania.
Oh.
And then Truth kept saying, I got a partner. They were facing the Judgment Day. And then halfway through the match, Cena came out, and the crowd went ballistic, and he was their partner. That was the only match he had in 2024, too.
Okay. The random noises made by Tama Tonga.
Like...
Jacob Fatu yelling "I love you" solo, and the Wyatt 6 debut.
I would, if not the Wyatt 6. Yeah, that's probably the top of my list. There was one other I forgot at the top, but the Wyatt 6 is the standout.
Honorable mention to the Kevin Owens car interviews, just because they're so different from anything else on SmackDown, and they're so
what we're used to.
They're so low key compared to how high quality WWE is.
Yes, and absolutely.
And the simple answer of it's fucking Kevin Owens doing Kevin Owens things.
Yeah, they kind of like, let him off the leash, but it's true, you know.
It's true, absolutely true. All right, match of the year. Oh, this is good.
The way they laid this out, I was surprised too. I wasn't expecting it to be. I figured that would be last, but no, not with the.
Well, I'm starting from the bottom because
But even still, it's still not the last. You know what I mean? It's packed in the middle.
Yeah. Well, I think individual person of the year is better over match of the year.
Match of the year, yeah, true.
I think it's like leading actor, leading actress type thing.
Yeah. I always looked at match of the year as like movie of the year, so you know.
Yeah. All right, Roman versus Cody at WrestleMania, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre at Hell in a Cell, Roman Reigns and The Rock versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. They got in there twice. That seems like it's cheating.
Right. Night 1 and Night 2 should be one option.
Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest versus Gunther, Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles at Backlash France.
Yeah.
If I could vote for the audience there, then yeah.
Yeah.
The 2025 Men's War Games match: Bayley versus Io Sky at WrestleMania, Sami Zayn versus Gunther at WrestleMania, Gunther versus Randy Orton at Bash in Berlin, Seth Rollins versus CM Punk on the Raw Netflix premiere. Oh, I've got a predictable answer for me that nobody's gonna like. You go first.
I was saying Punk and Drew.
Okay, we're on the same page then.
Yeah, that's what I figured you were going with, and that's what I'm going with. That was just it lived up to everything I wanted it to be. It made the Cell violent, their feud, all of it was just worthwhile. It was awesome.
I'll say something that is absolutely true, and other people will say is controversial. Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, Bloodline Rules at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship was a segment, not a match.
I agree, because the ending like 5 minutes with everybody coming out and all that, that's what is remembered. But besides that, it was a very long, slow Roman Reigns doing his heat moments, you know, that kind of stuff. Hey, I'm going to kick him. I'm going to hold him down. And just beating on Cody, and he's got to overcome the obstacles and all this. You know, it was a very Roman Reigns heel match. And the last 5 minutes were super, super exciting.
Let me just say something, right?
No.
when I say that this was not a match, it was a segment.
Yes.
That is not an insult, at least not coming from me, right?
It's so memorable.
It's not, because it's a segment, and in that segment, it was the most fan service, storytelling, everything that kicks ass about wrestling.
Exactly.
Like throwing its dick out on the table, right? But it wasn't a match. The match the night before was more a match than that. And it's not a dig. People are going to come at me. I understand that. People are already coming at me for other things. We don't need to talk about it. But, like, it's not a match. Like, Seth and Drew at the beginning of that night is more of a match. Even though there was some, shenanigans at the end with Punk on commentary and the cash-in and the great moment for Priest and all that. Great moment, great match. Great mini-match with the cash-in. This was a segment. It was an awesome segment. It's probably crystallized as one of the best, wrestling segments that I can think of in recent memory. This is where I said, and I said it to you 100 times, I'm not really a Cody guy, but tonight everybody's a Cody guy. Right?
Exactly.
But it's not a match.
Sorry, Milo was freaking out. He really likes that Roman Reigns main event, and you and I pissed him off.
I'm not even pissing on it. I'm just making the distinction.
I'm just being funny. But
because
no.
I'm sorry.
You're absolutely right. And
I'm sorry, Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes was the biggest thing happening in WWE. And then,
it was the biggest thing happening in wrestling.
And then CM Punk showed up.
At that time. Yeah.
CM Punk doubled down on, oh my God, it'll never happen again. Because, first of all, it was, oh my God, he'll never come back to wrestling. Second of all, it was, oh my God, he'll never come back to
WWE. Yeah, because, talk about the Starks burning every bridge line,
Yep.
No doubt about it.
And, the other side of the coin as well, and I hate to overlook Drew McIntyre because he's an integral part of it as well. Not only was that the feud of the year, and we're probably going to get to feud of the year in a second, but the biggest...
That's kind of a given between you and I.
The biggest compliment I can give the two of them is they breathed new life and new legitimacy into a gimmick in the Hell in the Cell that had been flogged into the ground.
Yeah.
Like, imagine watching Seth... all due respect to Bray Wyatt, who's passed on, and Roddy Raw. Imagine watching Seth and The Fiend in Hell in the Cell, and then watching this.
Yeah, no kidding.
Anyway, so I think we're in agreement there. Vote now, rivalry of the year. There's the one that wins, and there's everybody else.
Yeah,
Bloodline versus Bloodline, Nia Jax versus Tiffany Stratton, Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes, Damian Priest versus Finn Balor, Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. I hate to say it, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes wasn't the feud. The Bloodline already existed, and then Cody Rhodes decided to come back and get a belt for his daddy.
Yeah,
that's not
exactly.
A feud. Anyway,
that's where we left off with everything.
And it's CM Punk and Drew for all the reasons we've just said. Tag team of the year. This one is interesting.
Young Bucks.
Nah, Fraxium. Anyways, and they're not on here because I think NXT's doing their own awards again.
They better
DIY,
be. I saw it announced that they're doing them again, but...
Yeah, the NXT awards are kind of cool because they get that gold ring bell with the hammer.
Yeah.
DIY, Awesome Truth, A-Town Down Under, Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, Motor City Machine Guns, Bloodline, the War Raiders, the Judgment Day, Street Profits, and Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. My answer is none. And I'll tell you for why, right? I love DIY. WWE has not succeeded in getting the general audience behind or against them. Awesome Truth don't exist anymore. A-Town Down Under are decidedly an undercard act. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair has Bianca Belair in it. Motor City Machine Guns are not quite where I'd like to see them. What is a Bloodline? The War Raiders are awesome, but they've been...
What is a Bloodline?
Yeah, it's true.
I know. It's just funny the way you phrased it, because it did make me...
War Raiders, respectfully, I love them as a team. I love that they've kind of been fixed now, and they're not as gimmicky, but they were both gone with injury for a long-ass time. What is a Judgment Day? Street Profits kind of fucked off for a while and decided to show up 2 weeks ago and win belts. And Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, is a relatively new development because Liv Morgan had the one-on-one rivalry with Rhea Ripley. So even though they're not on here, my answer is Fraxium.
It works, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would still say Fraxium, but
we're writing them in.
If not, and I had to be actually realistic here, I would Judgment Day.
Yeah.
I mean, really, that's probably the best way to go with it.
I want to know what Judgment Day would look like right now if JD hadn't gotten hurt, because I feel like the story shifted after I mean, obviously it had to.
And here, I thought you didn't want to bring him up. I'm telling you.
Nope, not giving that oxygen. I don't have an answer because all the cool tag team wrestling that I'm watching is happening on NXT right now. And that's a dickhead statement from me.
No, but
predictable. But
I could say DIY with what they did. The Motor City Machine Guns are great. DIY turned heel and the run they had with the belts made it special on SmackDown. I mean, there are things to be included, but there also are things being overlooked. Like I said, and it's weird because they threw NXT people in some categories and not in others. So it's like, what do you want? What are you doing?
I think for the moments that NXT people have been thrown in there, I think it's an indicator of who they're bringing up soon. I think that's all that is.
Yeah.
Like Obafemi, by the end of this year, is going to be on the main roster, I would say.
He has to be him, Trick, because you figure when Carmelo was there, Trick being there, like how long it's been now. He needs to go, and
they got to be careful though, because they tried to bring up Carmelo as a singles guy. So if they bring up Trick and they start doing tag stuff, is that kind of like a quiet admission that he didn't work as a singles guy? Because I don't think that's necessarily the case.
No, that's not. I wouldn't say that's the case. It's just because they have history and they work well together. So
I think you do what you're doing with the Lucha Brothers. You put one on one brand and one on the other, and then eventually bring them together eventually if you want to.
Yeah.
It's like you get 3 debuts. Like right now we've had the debut of Penta, we're going to have the debut of Phoenix, and in say like a year or so if you bring them together, then you get the debut of the Lucha Brothers.
You took the words out of my mouth from Monday. That's exactly what I said on the review. I was like, yeah, this is what's happening because they get the triple play here. Like you said, the 3 pop, it happens. And then you're going to have them also like cross paths at one point too. So technically 4 pops, but
if they manage to keep them apart, and I'm talking about the Lucha Brothers here, if they manage to keep them apart and then they're number 1 and number 2 in the Rumble.
That was lit. God damn you. So I was going to say to you, I had heard that the original idea was to have Phoenix be number 1. Nice. Or number 2, excuse me. Penta was going to be number 1. And he was number 2 in the Rumble, I think, right?
Yeah, was he? I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so that has some merit there. It's not, it's treading water. But the way I heard it is that they were hoping to have Phoenix in time, and they were going to debut him on there against
So
Penta
do this then. Do this
start.
Then. The thing is, we're talking about 2 different teams here. Carmelo comes in at number 1. Penta comes in at number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Trick comes in at number 3, and there's a double team. Phoenix comes in to balance the scores. Not only is it a surprise, not only is it, I mean, he's already debuted at this point, but like it's a surprise.
Maybe not. I wouldn't debut him. I would wait and have him debut here.
You would wait till next year.
No. I'm saying they wanted him to debut at this Rumble.
Oh, at this Rumble.
That's how they wanted
gotcha.
it. This past Rumble, they had wanted. The talk was they wanted Phoenix number 2, Penta number 1. They were trying to get him in time, and then they were going to have him go to SmackDown, keep Phoenix, away from Penta, and then eventually, like as you're saying, paths connect. But it makes perfect sense, really.
Lucha Brothers versus Mello and Trick would be a lot of fun too.
There's so many. You and I could sit here for the next 15 minutes and be like, well, what about?
I mean, they've done it in TNA, but Lucha Brothers versus Motor City Machine Guns. Anyways,
that would, we've seen.
Anyways, throw DIY in the mix as well. DIY, Motor City Machine Guns, Lucha Brothers, Usos,
and Street Profits. Hell,
Montez Ford's got guilt by association. It's fine.
Fine.
Here's another one that we'll kind of groan over.
The sins of the wife. Happy life.
Hey, that means I would have to fuck over the Usos too. Anyways, faction of the year. Another one that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
OG Bloodline that are all doing their own thing right now. Judgment Day. What is a Judgment Day? The new Bloodline that's now being run by Jacob Fatu and is not called the Bloodline anymore. American Made and Damage Control. And at this point, I hate to say it, but what is a Damage Control?
It's not even there anymore. It's a shell of its former self. I don't know what they're going for here, but it's not good.
Here's the thing, and I wouldn't have said this until I've seen it on the screen in front of me right now. Currently, I got to go with American Made.
Yeah.
Because, the members of, the OG Bloodline did what it was supposed to do. It put Roman into the stratosphere. Sami Zayn didn't need any boosting. He was already a made guy, and it brought up the Usos. And you see what Jimmy is, and Jay's going for a world title at WrestleMania. The OG Bloodline has served its purpose.
It's happening, yeah.
I think watching them all individually succeed now is the success of the OG Bloodline. They're succeeding as a group separately.
Yes. You
can't say the same for the new Bloodline because we don't know where Tongaloa is. Tama Tonga is a gimmick right now. Solo is trying to be something, and Jacob is there to remind him that he's not something. American Made are just a fun team. American Made, they're both heel teams, but Chad Gable and his two big guys versus Wesley and his two big guys.
Yeah, it's
working,
be a lot of fun. And it's fun, yeah. And that's the thing, it is fun, and it's working, and it's exciting.
If all four members of Damage Control could stay healthy, I would love to say Damage Control. Because I love throw Bayley back in the mix for the purpose of this conversation. Bayley, Dakota Kai, Asuka, Kairi Sane, Io Sky. That's a pretty fantastic group of female talent.
No shit.
Never have they all been healthy at the same time. I feel bad. I'm not laughing at them. I'm just
it's the way it works. Yeah, no, you're not wrong at all. And it's come on, really? But nope, that's the truth.
Okay, so we've had WTF moment of the year. Now it's the OMG moment of the year. Totally separate.
Yeah, totally different. I didn't recognize this at all.
The last portion of the Roman Cody match at WrestleMania. That's very specific. Dominic Mysterio turning on Rhea Ripley. Kevin Owens turning on Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. New Day turning on Big E. Tiffany Stratton's Money in the Bank cash in on Nia Jax. Damian Priest's cash in on Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. Wyatt Six debut on Raw. Braun Breaker spearing ISHO Speed at the Royal Rumble. He got hurt. Bronson Reed hitting a tsunami on the car. John Cena turning on Cody Rhodes at the Elimination Chamber. Roman Reigns returning at SummerSlam. Io Sky beating Rhea Ripley to become the women's world champion on Raw, which is only 2 weeks ago. So good to them to forever put this together.
Yeah,
this is you're spoiled for choice here.
Yeah, no kidding.
I feel like the New Day turning and John Cena turning is almost one entry. You know what? For the amount of story that went into it and the amount of story that came out of it, there's a big... And it says Damian Priest, right? But if you think about the moving parts involved, I could make a case for Damian Priest's cash-in.
I could too, because that was huge, and that led to the start really... Not the start, but it added the real spark to Punk and McIntyre.
Because it spearheaded Damian Priest's face turn. It spearheaded him being kicked out of the Judgment Day. It spearheaded Cody Rhodes.
Because up until that point, McIntyre injured Punk, but Punk, but Drew was kind of done with Punk. He's I took care of you. You're out. I ruined your WrestleMania.
Drew had ruined Punk's thing about main eventing Mania, which is carried over right into this year. Drew McIntyre was on his way to saying, I want to win that fucking belt when there's actually people involved and people in the stands. What we didn't remember was that Seth Rollins was injured and he was on his way out. That wasn't part of the story, but that was real life stuff.
That was real, yeah.
But it was the set-off for CM Punk. It was the set-off for Drew McIntyre, which was the feud of the year, which led to them saving Hell in the Cell, which is something that still goes through to this day. It did the world of good for Priest. It helped. It's an awkward one because him becoming the champion led to him turning face, him being dropped by the Judgment Day, and him getting that first title reign under his belt
Yeah.
then led to him being a much bigger character after he dropped the belt. So, yeah, the Cena turn is cool. That's going to affect him and Cody Rhodes. The New Day thing is basically like, okay, just everybody on Raw hates the New Day now. I think for how much came out of it, the Priest cash-in is my answer.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong there. Absolutely.
There's a lot of fun. Like, they throw in some random shit on here, like the Bronson Reed tsunami on the car. Okay, cool.
Yeah. All right, whatever.
Oh, I didn't mention Roman Reigns.
That was great, but like...
It's just a fun thing. It's not, oh my god, because
exactly.
we have seen him. Roman Reigns returning at SummerSlam as well was like, okay, Roman Reigns like disappeared after WrestleMania, and it led to the whole formation of the second bloodline and him finally coming back to return his throne. That didn't happen until this year at the Netflix debut. It's in the running, but it's not in the top.
Yeah, it's
not
the moment, not by a long shot.
I'm sure it's not going to win. I'm sure the New Day turn or the John Cena turn are going to take this. And they should. And the Wyatt Six is another strong candidate just because people wanted it for what it represented and all that kind of thing. So there's a lot of sentimentality attached to it. There's a lot of really good, strong options here. But I'm going with Priest in the cash-in for all the other moving parts around it rather than just the moment itself. Most memorable entrance. Interesting.
Yes.
Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, Jey Uso on Raw with Travis Scott, Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, The Rock at WrestleMania, Bayley at WrestleMania, Randy Orton at Bash in Berlin, Seth Rollins at WrestleMania with the Mummers, Sami Zayn. I guess Seth got 2 entrances at WrestleMania. Yeah. That's fine. Sami Zayn in Montreal with Jey Uso, Sami Zayn at WrestleMania with Kevin Owens and Chad Gable, Logan Paul at SummerSlam with MGK.
Because they weren't with him. They were, like, backstage talking him up, right?
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah. Gotcha. Sorry, I just clicked into that. Dominic Mysterio at Bad Blood with Liv Morgan on the Lowrider.
Oh, yeah, that was
Drew
cool.
McIntyre at Clash at the Castle. I'm going to go purely with presentation on this one rather than who was involved. The full orchestra doing the Roman Reigns thing at WrestleMania was it for me.
Like, you're saying Roman Reigns? You know what? The first time they sang was doing it with Orton at Bash in Berlin. Mm-hmm. Like, it's up until that point, no one had sang his theme. Yeah. Now everybody's singing themes, but at that time, like, they kept it going. Like, that was wild.
I think it was the first real, like, okay, people have finally accepted Randy Orton.
Yes. Thing. And it was, so that for me really stood out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, you're coming at it from a different angle than I am. I just think the entire production and presentation and like just the logistics of putting it all together, like the full orchestra, full choir, full stage of musicians that played Roman Reigns out to the ring on that second night.
Yeah.
Like that's WrestleMania
size No, you're absolutely right. I mean, you're not wrong, and it was just that I'm so about the crowd over the spectacle. Yeah. To me, like, I like chants, I like the screaming, the louder the crowd, the more into it I am.
Yeah.
And I don't need a big stage, like I love pyro, but I don't need all the other things. And you know what amazes me still, side note, is that the pyro is still all manually shot, even with all the advancements in technology and whatnot. It's still required for you to have a manual trigger. Like, you can't have a program for it. It's still manual trigger release.
Yeah. No, I love the fan stuff too, especially right now because we're in sort of like this rising up of WWE and popularity, and they're riding the wave right now. It's all that, but there's just something, and like it only works because it's the Roman Reigns character and how big he thinks he is and how big he is in the company and how representative it all is. Like the Roman Reigns entrance, and it's got nothing to do with the fact that it's Roman Reigns even in this case. That's an awesome thing that's not going to happen next week. That's an awesome thing that's that twinge of I'm watching WrestleMania on TV, but I wish I was there. That's that example of wrestling is already huge. This is one moment where it gets gigantic. Like that's what that
You're right.
that's what
It
that
is
moment
massive.
is. And
Yeah.
and you're coming at it from the participation point of view, which is absolutely valid. I normally do too, but that entrance made me go holy shit.
But in this instance, and that's what I love about these things. Like you and I line up a lot, but we don't line up on everything. And that's what makes it interesting. That's one of the reasons I really enjoy working with you.
This is the thing. Like, I'm not disagreeing with you either. We're just looking at two different things.
Yes, thank you. And that's what I was trying to point out. You got it, my friend. We can have differing opinions. No one's right. No one's wrong. We're both right in how we feel.
Well, we're right.
And yes, but there's no, like, definitively right answer. And that's what I think people forget at times. Like, they look at it in a way like, oh, how I feel is how it has to be. And guess what? It doesn't.
No, because here's the thing, though. Like, every time... And, I mean, no, there's some stuff I'm going to argue with people about, obviously, right? But every time I hear somebody that disagrees with me and you ask the question why, like you and I can, because we're in a forum like this, it's not only that, like, their opinion is different than yours, how they got there is usually different than how you got there. And that's where different interesting conversations happen.
Yeah.
But now we're down to
I get that.
Male and female star of the year. I'm going to read through both of them, and I'm going to let you give both your answers, and I'm going to give both my answers, because I think we're the same. Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Bayley, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, Chelsea Green, Io Sky, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Gunther, CM Punk, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, Jey Uso, Seth Rollins.
I'm going to let you go first on this one.
I'm going to let you guess what my answers are.
I was going to say you're probably picking Bianca, but no, you're going to be... I assumed Rhea Ripley was going to be your choice.
Yep.
Okay.
My choices are Ripley. My choices are Ripley and Punk.
And that's truly not
surprising.
Totally yeah, but with Punk it could have gone a few ways. So I figured it would be, and Punk is my choice as well. But my female choice, and it's not even like I am absolutely head over heels for what she's done and all that, but if you really look at like who deserves it, and that's what I feel here, is Liv Morgan.
Fair.
And the reason I say that is look back where she was before this year. Mm-hmm. She has been here for ages. It doesn't seem like it, but the Riot Squad was like a 2015-16 thing. You know what I mean? Like, she's been on this roster for a long time. And as the cat knocks over drinks, I genuinely have been impressed by everything that she has been able to accomplish. She made herself a main eventer. She made herself the focal point of pretty much the whole summer was dedicated to her on TV. She main evented a lot of things.
Here's the thing. I feel like it's just her. Here's where I would love to say I wish that you could have breakout main eventers. Because there's two people on this list that I would love to say they've been great breakout stars, but they've been kicking around forever. It just seems like they've broken out recently. Liv Morgan's one of them, Jey Uso's the other one. But they're so big in the company that nobody's going to consider them a star that's broken out. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Because Jey Uso has broken out this year, obviously. Oh, sorry, midway through last year to right now where we are, obviously, with him winning the Rumble and whatnot. He's broken out. The crowd fucking love him. He's not bigger than CM Punk.
No.
And I say that with all respect because I hope Jey Uso goes to WrestleMania and beats Gunther. Spoiler. But the same thing goes for Liv Morgan. I've been an advocate for Liv Morgan. Not that she needs my advocacy. I'm one dickhead with a podcast. But, like... We said it on the last podcast. A lot of people, I hate to admit it, but I guess she's getting pretty good. Why do you hate to admit it? She's not just getting good now. Fuck off. But, at the same time, for as much as she's coming, as far as she's coming, how much she's head and shoulders over almost everybody.
Why you gotta bring head into this, huh? God, see, we're trying to make you not a misogynist, and you jump it right into the...
Anyways, let me finish my thought now. I had a really good thought going there. As much as she's proven herself, and as much as she's head and shoulders over almost everybody, that almost is Rhea Ripley.
Giggity.
Exactly.
And you are absolutely right, and that's a great point. I'm sorry, I had
but no, Rhea Ripley does the stupid, sexy Rhea pin. So
yes, and no, I realistically should be picking Rhea, and in my mind, I want to be. Well, no, because in my mind, she's the top. She's the absolute pinnacle of what I look forward to seeing in women's wrestling. Mm-hmm. She's believable, and I genuinely. I'm excited by her and what she does in the ring. It's enticing, it's alluring, it's surprising, it's something else. She's got that it factor. She's not Chyna, where she's so manly that she shouldn't be in the women's division.
But she's today's Chyna, though.
Yes, in an acceptable way that fans are let's be about this. Let's be over, before, and let's do that. And they're being supportive, and that's what's really refreshing to see. So.
No, it's really true. And I've always used the indicator because, we talk about, how everything goes in, multiple streams, and there's, 10 different things we can book, right?
Yes.
Whoever's got your attention the most is the person you fantasy book the most.
Okay.
I've booked just about everybody that I want to see succeed, like Jade Cargill, Jordynne Grace, Zarya. I've even done some ideas do a rematch with Becky Lynch. I'd love to see a match between her and Bayley. I want to see all these people, and I want to see them go against Rhea Ripley, because right now she's the glass ceiling, right?
Yeah.
I like Jey Uso, right? I want him to have a title run, and I want him to run through some people, and I want to see him sit there, pretty, with the belt. It's going to be awesome, right? But
as it feels like it's going to be.
But I'm not booking as many fantasy opponents for him as I am for CM Punk.
Yeah.
Because we didn't get to do it for 10 years. And he's an interesting character. And with CM Punk, because his game is so much on the microphone as well, I want to see what CM Punk has to say about Sami Zayn. I want to see what CM Punk has to say about Kevin Owens before they beat the shit out of each other. I want to see if there can be a respect found between him and Damian Priest, because he helped Damian Priest cash in to get that first world title run. I want to see what CM Punk with a mic in his hand standing in front of Gunther looks like.
Yeah.
I want to see CM Punk, hey, Jey Uso, I'm proud of you, I'm happy for you, but you've got something on your shoulder that I want. Because I'm sorry, at that point, as much as I'm happy for Jey Uso, and he's finally he didn't take the belt off Roman like he should have, but he's come up from under the shadow of Roman and he's got himself a world title. You throw CM Punk into that scenario, it's not a Jey Uso match anymore, it's a CM Punk match.
Yeah.
And that's, again, I've said this a lot today because we're picking awards and stuff like that, so I gotta say, it's no shade on Jey Uso. I'm ridiculously happy for the guy. I'm ridiculously happy for Jey Uso this year, the same way I was ridiculously happy for Drew McIntyre last year. But who put Drew McIntyre into that situation, into that spotlight, so I could be happy for him? It's CM Punk.
I agree with that. And Punk
Liv
is
Morgan,
my choice still.
Liv Morgan looks as big as she does right now, because she's been staring down the dragon known as Rhea Ripley for a year straight now.
Yeah.
She's done it with backup, she's done it with trickery, she's done it with chicanery, she's done it with shenanigans, but in her own way, with all the tools in her tool belt, she has been the one staring down Rhea Ripley all year, which means she was built off Rhea Ripley, which means Rhea Ripley is still the measuring stick.
Yeah.
Anyways.
You're not wrong. I mean, and that's the thing, she is the measuring stick in every sense of the word and way. And she's earned it. I mean, she really has. She's just so damn must see. She captures your attention, and you have to watch her.
Every now and then, right? And you shouldn't do this too much because she even said like she wasn't feeling herself at the time, right?
Yeah.
I go back to the first Mae Young Classic, and I watch Rhea Ripley. You watch her there, watch her now, and it's an absolute transformation. First of all, like all the visual stuff, like, oh yeah, she dyed her hair black and she gets to dress the way she likes and she got more jacked and whatever. And
yeah,
there's a thing, and I'm definitely ripping this off Simon Miller, but a good point is a good point, right?
That it is.
He bigs up Nia Jax quite a bit. Nobody is as good at being Nia Jax as Nia Jax is, right? I'm gonna co-opt that. Nobody is Rhea Ripley as much as Rhea Ripley is.
Yeah, you're not wrong there either.
Because we've made the comparisons to China, and those comparisons are kind of loose. There's nobody that you can say Rhea Ripley.
Loose, you say?
Yeah, don't do it. There's nobody that you can say Rhea Ripley is trying to be other than Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, Rhea is not loose.
Well, that's up to her, buddy.
She chopped the shit out of him.
Have you seen those videos?
I knew you were going to say that. My God.
She's bigger than him.
Yes.
They've got a Jordan Grace, Jonathan Gresham situation, except Buddy needs to work on his tan for that to work. Anyways, Obviously I'm leaving this on a high note. This was a lot of fun. I mean, it's just us giving us a chance to randomly talk about shit that we like. But the Slammies is a cool thing. The Slammies is everything and nothing. Like, we can talk about this now, and as soon as those trophies are handed out, it's back to being nothing until next year.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. I still put more stock into
this.
But
I like award shows. I like award shows. Yeah. I like, that's part of me. I enjoy it. So I really want to see, when it's genuine. And that's a thing that we lacked for a while, where they changed the Slammies where it wasn't like fan voted, and remember they kind of had like it was like the guest host point in time too. So
I mean, I still don't believe that it's fan voted, but you can make the fans feel like they're involved.
I think it is now, honestly.
Okay.
So being truthful, it seems like it.
You know what I just realized?
What's that, sir?
I didn't realize it until you made the joke when we talked about Female Superstar of the Year, and you're like, oh, I bet it's going to be Bianca Belair.
Mm-hmm.
She's not on the list.
Really? See? Ooh. Doesn't surprise me, though.
That just made my fucking day.
It doesn't surprise me, because what did she accomplish last year? Fuck all.
She accomplished carrying around a tag title belt that said, I get to be on all 3 shows, and let me whip you with my hair. I whip my hair back and forth.
They were practically gifted. And I don't mean it it's the truth. Honestly, like they were gifted the tag titles there.
Yep.
I don't know. You know as well as I do.
I feel really bad for Jade Cargill. I wish she had something better to do at WrestleMania. Anyways, now that I've left it on that sour note, why don't you tell them where to find you, my friend?
That's right. You can find me over on YouTube at Countdown Ended or Jake DeMarco. You can look up both. You can find me on Twitter at Countdown Ended and on Rumble, Jake Countdown Ended DeMarco over there as well. Ooh. And we'll be putting out some more content this weekend. I know Cody wanted to do some type of news update. I said, sure, we'll look and see what's going on for the week. And, excuse me, we've got Impact to watch on those spoilers, and SmackDown on Friday. But next week, my friend, we've got a very, very, very big Raw live from the UK. So I will be live that Monday after Raw and Tuesday for NXT. So it's going to be a great time here, that's for sure.
All right. And you guys know where to find me, or you wouldn't be here. I've been Spaz. This has been Super Sexy Jake DeMarco. This has been The State of Wrestling. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later. But for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.
Spaz wins the Slammy for Best Host.